So we're going to start lying down today. You can just take yourself onto your mat, get yourself organized, your nice new mat. So I meant to say, if you've got any blocks and you'd like to use them, you might need them for a couple of the standing postures, but you can grab them at some point if you do. When you're ready, we're just going to begin the practice just by taking an inhale. So through your nose, just take your time. And then we're going to exhale through the mouth. So you can release all of the air out. Taking your time, making sure it empties out. We'll do that again. So inhaling, so filling up as much as you can. And then exhaling through your mouth again. As you come to the end of this exhale, we'll close the lips and just beginning to breathe in and out through your nose. Allowing the breath just to move easily. So using our breath here to try and help us to arrive on our mat. And to see if we can relax the body a little bit more with the breath. Your breath starts to smooth out, just noticing any tightness or tension. You can release that even more. So our practice today is called In the End, and it's really out of a Buddha quote, which I quite like. So it goes like this. It just says, in the end, only three things matter. How much we love, how gently we live, and how gracefully we let go of things that aren't meant for us. When you're ready, we're going to move a little bit. We're going to do a little kind of hip opening practice today. So you're going to bend your knees, first of all. And if you take your feet pretty wide, so you do want them kind of out to the edges of your mat. And then when you're ready, you can just have your arms by your side. As you inhale, we're just going to lower the legs just over towards one side. So kind of like a windscreen wiper, just let both legs drop over. And then exhale back into the center. And as you inhale, we'll just go the other way. So just letting the legs just move as they will move. You don't have to force anything, but just moving gently side to side. As you do that, try and stay present with the movement. So we're trying to our mind focused on what we're doing and the sensations that occur while we're doing it. We'll try and do that throughout the class today as well. Now the next time you move both legs over towards the right side, we're going to stay at the right side. If you want a little bit more, you could pick your right foot up and actually place it onto your left thigh or your left knee. I mean, that just uses a little bit of weight to kind of draw that hip down a little bit more. If you like to, you can spread your arms and you can look on your left arm or look up towards the ceiling, whatever feels right to you. When you're ready, slowly release both legs. Bring it back into the center, make sure your feet are still wide, and then gently move over towards the left side. So again, when you get there, you could just stay here or lift your left foot up and just place it gently onto that thigh. Just using that to draw the right hip down a little bit more. You want to turn your head to the right now, you can. When you're ready, slowly release and come back in towards the center. This time, if you draw both of your knees in towards your chest. So you've got one hand on either knee here. We're going to kind of circle, but if you think about your knees being together first, if you move them out to the side and then take them down and then back together. So we just kind of create these big opening circles. Start to say hello to your hips and just check out how they feel. Just when you're ready, see if you can change direction on that. So just moving out and up. When you're ready, move back in towards the middle. So we're going to take your hands onto your knees or your shins. And this time we're going to work through the lower back and the hips. So as you inhale, if you can, just draw your knees in a little bit more and see if you can curl your tailbone a little bit off the ground. And then as you exhale, just release that back down. Now do that again. See if you can do it without using the hands too much. So we're trying to kind of draw the lower belly in as you lift the knees in and then release them down. And if you want to, you can lift the upper body as well. As you inhale, just lifting your upper body, nose to your knees as you draw the knees in, and then exhale, releasing back down. So this is Apanasana, or wind relieving pose, but just see what it feels. See if you can get a little stretch in the lower back and the hips. So let's do that twice more, so just take your time. And then on this last one, if you want to, you can just draw your knees in, just take a little squeeze, so pulling your knees in, drawing your nose up towards your knee. And slowly release. Take your hands behind the back of your thighs now. So we are going to move up here. So if you can, just rolling back and forwards just a few times until you eventually decide to come up. Just taking your time as you move up. We're going to move to all fours, just coming round onto your hands and onto your knees. As you come in, we're just going to do a few cat cows here. So with the hands under the shoulders and the knees under the hips. As you inhale, just lower the belly towards the mat a little and then pull your chest forwards. And then on the exhale, just tucking the tailbone under and drawing your chin to your chest. So as we're working through the hips here, we're going to work again, mindfully. I'm going to start each movement from your hips, so from your tailbone. So as you exhale, we're going to tuck the tailbone under, draw your belly in. You then start to round through your upper back and then take your chin to your chest. And then on the inhale, we reverse it. So we push the hips away first, start to lower the belly down, and then start to pull the chest forwards and lift the head relax. Again, from here, the tailbone tucks, the belly pulls in, the back starts to arch, and we bring the chin to chest. And then moving from your hips again. So again, it's really just a matter of perspective and just trying to make sure that we are mindful of the movement and not just moving mindlessly, so just moving for the sake of it, but actually keeping our mind on it and on the sensations that we create. Okay, let's do just a couple more of these, so take your time and just involving the mind as well. When you're ready, on your next inhale, we're just going to come back in towards the center, so just drawing your belly in. And then from here, we're just going to move our knees back a little bit, and you're going to lower yourself down into a Sphinx position. So you can come onto your forearms first, just with the hands down, and then you can lower down through your hips as well. So as you come into the Sphinx position, your shoulder is aligned with your elbow. And again, we need to have the shoulders directly underneath the elbows. See if you can think about the pubic bone being down, but lifting your belly button up and drawing the shoulders down your back. Just breathing deeply. Now from here, if you want to, you do not have to, but you could try kind of a cat-cow movement here. So on the inhale, obviously, we'll be lifting the chest forwards and the chin lifts up. And then on the exhale, we just tuck the chin under and then round your back a little bit. So we do that again. So inhale, start to pull forward. So draw the shoulders down your back. And then on that exhale, see if you can round in. So tuck your chin, round your back a little bit. Let's do that once more. So inhale, moving forwards and lifting up. And on the exhale, just rounding in. Now from there, we're going to slowly release all the way down towards the ground. So just take your time, release your chest down towards the ground. Stretch your arms out behind you, so down by your sides. And first of all, if you just have your hands pressing down towards the mat, and then as you inhale, just press on your hands and just start to gently lift the chest up. As you exhale, just slowly releasing back down again. So you can do that again. If you want a bit more, stretch your fingers down towards your toes and then reaching back as you lift up through the upper body. Inhale to lower back down again. So again, as you're doing this, we're trying to relax as much as you can in the lower part of your body. So the feet nice and relaxed, the legs nice and relaxed. It's really trying to activate a little bit in your lower back. And we're going to do one more of these. We're going to lift up and hold this time. So just lift and hold, stretching your arms back, looking down towards your mat, drawing your belly in. Last 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly release all the way down. Move your hands so they're underneath your shoulders, and then just very gently push yourself back up. We're going to come into a wide leg child's pose here. So if you widen your knees, bring your feet together, start to set your hips back. So push them back towards your heels, and then start to maybe stretch the arms out a little bit. So again, just a little stretch through the lower back and the hips. When you're ready, we'll start to move back up. So just move up onto your hands and then walk your hands back just towards your legs. And we're going to come in for a pigeon. You can either do a half pigeon or a full one. If you bring your right leg forwards first and see if you can align your right leg kind of to the top of your mat. So we're sitting with this left leg bent. So the right leg, your knee is just in line with your ankle here and the foot a little bit flexed. Now, if it feels better for you, then you can just stay here in this more upright position. If you would rather use your hands and push yourself up and slide your left leg behind you so your left leg is then straight. And again, we'll stay upright for a moment or two. But whether you've got the back leg bent or straight, it doesn't matter. You should still feel that in your hip. And if you wanted to, you could grab a block here and place it underneath your right hip. So if you feel your right hip is really high and you can't kind of even it out with that left hip in the block. So using your hands here, try and even out your hips, try and lengthen through the back leg. And then when you're ready, we are going to lower down. So you just have to decide where you want to go to. So you could lower down so you're on your forearms, or you might want to release all the way down and relax the head and neck a little bit more. But be mindful of where you want to feel the stretch. In this posture, we want to feel it in our right hip. If you feel it anywhere else, it's not valid, but that is, if you don't feel it in your right hip, then the stretch is not doing its job. So you might need to bend that left leg a little. Okay, when you're ready, we'll start to move back up. So use your hands here, just press yourself back up. And then from there, you're going to sit over onto your right hip. So just move over to your right hip. As you do that, see if you can swing your left leg, so all the way around, so that it comes in front of your right thigh somewhere. And again, if this is not suitable for you, you can always stretch your right leg out and have your right leg straight and do the twist here. But if you can, have both legs bent and keep them bent. So using your right arm or your right hand, draw yourself round towards the left, and then your left fingertips just behind you. Again, lifting up nice and tall through that left fingertips. See if you can press down through your left big toe as well. So get a sensation of kind of creating some friction here. We're trying to create a little bit of force. Well done. Back towards the middle. So you can bring your legs out if you like. And if you want to just have your legs out in front, we'll just take the left leg forward. So we're just coming into that pigeon on the left side. So your left knee comes forward. Again, see if you can align it with the top of your mat. So your knee and your ankle are in line, your foot maybe a little bit flexed. And your right leg this time will be bent. So from there, again, if you want to, you could just stay here. Or if you want to use that right leg straight, then use your hands and then slide the right leg behind you. So you've got that straight right leg. Again, stay upright for a moment or two. You always kind of rush into pigeon. Sometimes it pays to take your time and see if you can align things a little bit more comfortably for you. And if you want to use the block, then it's going to go underneath your left hip. So when you're ready, if you want to start to move down, you can always stay here. But move down onto your forearms, see how that feels, and maybe release all the way down onto the ground. But work with sensation rather than where you think you should go to. When you're ready, we're going to move back up. So use your hands again. Sit over onto that left hip now. So just move over and then swing your right leg all the way around. So again, as you come round, if you can't take that foot to the outside of your left leg, then just straighten your left leg and have that in front of you. And then using your right hand or your right arm, draw yourself round and using your right fingertips behind you. Again, just taking it with both legs bent or with that one leg straight. When you're ready, slowly release and come back towards the center. You can just bring your legs out in front of you again. We're going to move from here back into an all fours position. So you could swing your legs out to the side and then come back into all fours. As you move into all fours, we're going to come in for our first downward facing dog here. So when you're ready, we'll start to tuck the toes and then we'll start to press the hips up and back. As you come into this down dog, maybe pedaling out your feet, so you could bend through one leg, maybe pushing the other heel down, and then change sides and bend through the other leg. Just any really movement that you feel is beneficial. If you just want to stay in down dog and you just want to enjoy that, then you can do that as well. Now we're going to take one more inhale here. When you're ready, we're going to step forwards with your right leg. So if you just step your right foot up towards the top of your mat. As you step it forwards, we're going to lower the left knee down towards the mat. So you might need to slide your left leg back a little bit. So you need to try and see if you can feel the kind of hips dropping down. And you could use blocks here, or you could come up onto your fingertips. So really whatever feels right. But as you're here, see if you can draw your chest forwards a little bit and lift the belly a little. So we're trying not to collapse down, but we're trying to sink down through your hips, but keep the upper body pretty active. And when you're ready, we're going to move back. We're going to straighten through your right leg a little. So you could use your hands, just walking them back a little. Again, blocks are helpful here. And you don't have to straighten the leg, but just take it back a little bit so you feel the stretch through the hamstring on that right leg. And if you'd like to, you can also pull the toes towards you so you get a flexed foot here. Keep the hips level, try and keep the chest lifted a little bit. Just breathing deeply. Now we're going to take one more in here. We're going to rebend that right leg. So slowly start to move forwards again. Walk your hands forwards. And then from there, you're going to tuck the toes on the back leg and you're just going to lift your knee up. So we come into this runner's lunge. And again, in this, see if you can let the hips sink down a little bit. But the chest is still lifting. But just be careful with that right knee. Sometimes it moves out to the right more. So you need to kind of hug it in towards the midline of your body. Now, optionally, if you want to, here you could straighten your front leg again. Then we walk the hands back, we start to straighten it out, but you just see how it feels. If it's too much, then rebend the leg a little bit. Draw the hips towards the midline, belly pulling in. Let's take one more in here. Slowly rebend your right leg. And then from there, we're going to step back with your right foot into that plank position. When you get there, we will lower the knees towards the mat here, and then bending in your elbows, lower your chest down towards the ground. As you inhale here, start to pull the chest up again, so draw your shoulders back, just a little cobra. And then as you exhale, pushing back further, so push yourself back using your arms onto your knees, and then tuck your toes and lift your hips downward facing dog. Just breathing deeply. Well done. So again, if you need to move at all, then do that. See if you can spread your fingers more. See if you can push up and out of your shoulders, drawing the belly in. So we're going to change sides. So we'll look forward. We'll step the left foot forward this time. So just up towards the top of your mat. And then from there, lower your right knee down towards the ground. So again, you might slide the right leg back a little bit. You might use blocks underneath your hands, maybe to draw the chest forwards a little bit more. See if you can let the hips sink down just gently without forcing them. Again, from there, we're going to move back a little bit. So you're using your blocks, so just walk your hands back a little bit. Start to feel that stretch in the back of your thigh, and maybe start to pull the toes up very gently, but work out how it feels, think about the sensation. Okay, from there, slowly start to rebend that leg, so take it forwards once more. And this time again, tuck your toes under and lift through your back knee. So that back knee lifts off the ground. The hips sink down, the belly pulls in a little bit. And again, only if it feels right, we're going to straighten that leg. So start to move back, just straightening through the front leg once more. Deep breaths, and keeping our mind focused on the sensation of the movement. Okay, when you're ready, slowly start to rebend through your left leg. We're going to step back again. So with your left leg, step back into plank. And then from there, lower your knees towards the mat. And then bending in your elbows, lower your chest all the way down. So when you get there, on your inhale, start to draw the shoulders back, lifting through your chest a little bit. On the exhale, start to push back even further. So keep pushing with your hands onto your knees, tuck your toes and lift your hips downward facing them. Maybe take a deep inhale through your nose now, and just sigh out your mouth. Well done. We're going to move up towards the top of your mat. So you can lift your heels up, look forward. You could step or walk up, it's really up to you. But making your way up towards the top, separate your feet hip distance, and then just fold towards your legs. Again, with the knees bent, with your hands on your knees if you'd like, whatever really suits you and feels best. So from there, releasing your hands. As you inhale, lengthen forward. So start to stretch the spine forwards. And then as you exhale, just folding back in towards your legs. On the inhale, we'll reach up. So rising all the way up to the top. So keep coming up with your hands. And on the exhale, we'll draw the palms together so in front of your heart. Maybe closing your eyes just for a moment. See how everything's starting to feel. We're going to release the hands and open the eyes. We're going to come in, our balance today is Ganadasana, our eagle. So you can definitely go near a wall. If you want to use a block, then you can use one of these. And we are going to be standing on our right leg first. So if you're using the block, just taking your block to the outside of your right foot. So if you separate your feet hip distance apart, so drawing the belly in, we're going to bend both knees just a little bit. So you're taking a little teeny tiny chair. And then standing on your right leg, we'll lift the left leg up and over. So we're taking the thigh and crossing it over the right thigh. And if you wanted to, you could just hold it here. You could place your foot in the block, or maybe you can take that left foot and hook it around the back of your right calf. So just bring your hands towards the center. And maybe bending gently into that right leg a little bit. Just see how that feels. Start to see if you can focus your gaze somewhere. Just a nice, even breath. And then if you want to add some arms, we'll stretch them out and we'll take the left arm underneath the right. So again, you might grab hold of your shoulders. Maybe you take a little bind, take hold of your forearm, or maybe the other hand. And maybe you can lift your elbows up a little. Doing a little squeeze, breathing deeply. Okay, we'll take one more inhale. When you're ready, we're going to slowly release. So just with control, unraveling your arms and your legs. Start to bring your feet together and then draw your palms together as well. Maybe closing your eyes just for a moment and just being aware of any sensations in your body, in your breath. Okay, so try that on the other side. So if you want to move the block, just move it to the outside of your left foot. Again, separate your feet a little bit and then start to draw the belly in and bend your knees. So we'll take that right leg up and over the top of the left. So wrapping either once, foot on the block if you'd like, or start to move that foot round towards the back. Try and keep the hips as square as you can. Hands to the center, and maybe bend through your left leg a little bit more, but you know, check it out, see how it all feels. Bringing that steady gaze, an even breath. So staying with your hands here if you like, or reaching them out again, bring your right arm underneath the left arm to any degree. At that bind. As we bend the legs, maybe the arms lift up a little bit, but you just work where you can. Again, we'll start to slowly release it just in your own way. Take your time. Bring your feet and your hands back together once more. Done. Okay. So we're going to release the hands and open the eyes. We'll come in for some standing postures now. Again, if you do want to use the blocks, we're going to do Parsvattanasana, which if you remember was a straight leg forward fold, and you might use your blocks here, not necessarily have to. So if you're going to use them or think you might, have them at the top of your mat. So just maybe about shoulder width apart, so just in front of you. Again, they're optional, so you don't have to. So we're going to move in with a sun salutation, just one. And if you wanted to, you could just step back with your left foot into warrior one rather than doing the sun sal. But if you're joining me, we'll start with the feet together or a little bit apart. Spread your toes and lengthen your legs. Draw your belly in. When you're ready, on an inhale, this big reach up, maybe looking up at your thumbs. As you exhale, we'll start to fold forward. So bending into your knees, release down. On the inhale here, lengthen forward through your spine. So move your hands further up. And on the exhale, lowering down, hands down, and we'll step back into that plank position. As you get there, you can definitely lower your knees like we did before, or move forwards a little bit and just bend your elbows halfway to chaturanga. As you inhale, either upward facing or cobra. And then on the exhale, we'll make our way back, downward facing dog. Breathing deeply. So we're going to step your right foot forward. So we're coming into warrior one. So stepping it in, maybe turning through the heel of your back leg, place it down. So bend your front leg, and then just rising up into that warrior one position. So maybe sweeping the arms up as you come up. Again, the hands can be apart, hands can be together, it's really up to you. But try and keep that feeling of balance through your feet. You might feel a little stretch through the calf and the back leg, so pressing that down more. So shoulders and hips round towards the front. You need to widen your feet to accommodate that, or you need to step your back foot in and do that. Now from this warrior one, we're going to come into humble warrior. So we'll release the hands down. We're going to interlink your fingers behind your back. As you do that, see if you can draw your shoulder blades together a little and lift your chest. So you could just stay here. You could move forwards a little, so just tilting forwards. If you want to take your chest or your belly down towards that right thigh, then do that. Or maybe you take your shoulder and drop it down towards the thigh. And if you do that, see if you can release your head. And then the arms could sweep a little overhead. Again, without forcing them, the idea is to release the upper body here. We're not trying to move in too deeply. Working the legs, so still these warrior one legs, super strong and balanced. So to come back up, we're going to draw your belly in. We'll lift back up. You can release the hands if you need to. And then as you come up, we'll just reach the arms up for one breath in that warrior one. And then draw your palms down through the center and just bring them in towards the middle of your chest. Now from here, we're going to come in for Parsvottanasana. So we're going to step your back foot in quite a little bit. So we want to have a kind of V shape with our legs. And then straighten your front leg. So both of your feet now should face towards the front. Again, you might need to widen this a little. So you can always walk your right foot further to the right, which will give you more space to align the hips forwards. Now take an inhale, you can keep your hands by your chest and just lengthen forwards. So we want a fairly kind of flat back. And you might choose to stay here. You could just stay here. Maybe you place your hands on your hips or your thigh. Or if you feel that you can manage, take your hands down towards blocks. And if you want a little bit more than that, then release your hands down towards the ground. But again, the blocks can change in height, so you can always release them a little bit and just check it out and see how it feels. So without rounding too much, we want to keep that kind of length. Think about your right hip. So the right hip, often when we try to go further down here, moves out to the right, but try and see if you can hug it into the center. Now, optionally, while we're here, you could take a little twisted triangle, which means that our left hand would stay on the block or on the floor. Your right hand could transfer just to your right hip if you wanted to first. And then maybe you could start to rotate your chest round and reach up through your right arm. And if it doesn't feel right, then don't worry about it. But the hips stay pretty level. The rotation occurs through your belly button as we reach up. Let's just take one more inhale. Slowly release, so take that right hand back down. And then from there, bend your right leg. So you're just bending into your right leg. Now, if you can, from there, step back with your left foot. So you're coming into more of this kind of lunge that we did earlier. You can still have your hands on blocks or on the floor. We are going to lower your back knee here because we're going to come in for a lizard lunge. So lower your left knee slowly down towards the mat. From there, move both of your hands to the inside of your right foot and then walk your right foot out towards the right edge of your mat. So we create a little bit of space. So in our lizard lunge, you might just stay here. So just letting the hips sink down like we did before. Or maybe you bend your elbows a little bit so you can release down a bit more. You can also use the blocks here. And remember, you can build them up. So you could create kind of a little structure and then rest your forearms onto the blocks. And the idea is that when we're supported with blocks or with the ground, then the hips can sink down a little bit more. Again, you just check it out, see how it feels. Start to move in with your breath again so that you are actually allowing your muscles to relax. If it's too much, you move out. If it's not enough, then see if you can deepen it. Okay, we'll take one more inhale. So from there, we're going to slowly start to move back up. So use your hands again. And again, with the hands, you're going to move your right foot towards the center once more, so that your hands come either side of that right foot. And then from here, we're going to tuck the toes under on the left leg, lift your knee, and then step back, either to plank or down dog. So if you're on plank, if you want to take a vinyasa, then you can. So either knees up or down, bend your elbows, either to the ground or halfway. Inhale, upward facing or cobra. And on the exhale, make your way back, downward facing up. Okay, so we are just going to do the other side here. So when you're ready, looking forward, you're going to step your left foot forwards this time. So as you step your left foot up towards the top of your mat, turning on the heel of your right foot so the heel goes down. Again, adjust your feet and legs if you need to. Bend your front leg and start to rise up when you're ready. Taking your time, moving back into that warrior one, sweeping the arms up if you like. Maybe you look up and the hands can either just stay pretty wide or you could bring your palms together. So again, really your choice. How does it feel? And make sure the shoulders and hips are slightly towards the front leg is bending. Good. And breathing deeply. Nice. Okay, when you're ready, we're going to release the hands. So we're coming into that humble warrior again. So we'll take them behind your back. You might change your grip here, just moving one finger up. And then draw the shoulder blades together, open your chest, start to move forwards again. So just a little. Or a lot if you want to move your belly or your chest down, or maybe you can take that shoulder down. When you get there, see if you can release your head and gently draw the arms over. But work with what feels best. So the relaxation of the head is important, but not if it causes you stress. So, you know, if it feels better to keep a little tension in your neck and you want to keep hold of that because you're not fully down on the leg, then I completely understand that. So don't feel that you have to release the head. Okay, we'll make our way back up. So draw your belly in, keep the hands there if you can, and push yourself back up. So using your core. Release your hands, reach up. So just for one inhale here, and then bring your palms together. So in front of your heart. So again, we're going to come in for Parsvottanasana. So hop in with your back foot first, and as much as you need to, and then start to straighten both legs. So the feet are facing forward. You might move your left foot further out, so you've got more space for your hips. And then taking an inhale, start to push forwards again. So we're keeping that nice long spine as we move in. So either stay here, put your hands maybe onto your hips or your thigh. Maybe you grab your blocks again, so one either side of that front foot, and lower down onto your blocks, or maybe you come down so you've got your hands on the ground. But think about the left hip, so the left hip squeezes towards the middle rather than the kind of hooking out to the side too much. And work where you can, breathing deeply. So if you want to come in for that twist, you can. So if you're not using your blocks, you could also take your right hand and just place it on your left leg somewhere, and then use your left hand just onto your hip. And then you could reach up. through that hand. Alternatively, you can have your right hand on a block or on the floor. Again, just work where you can, and you don't have to do it either. You can always stay in powers with asana if you like. We'll not stay here long. Take an inhale. Then slowly release both hands down. Rebend your front leg. So bend it until you can step back with your back leg and get your hands onto blocks or to the ground, so wherever you are. So we are going to move into that lizard lunge again. So when you're ready, slowly lower down through your right knee. And then when you're ready, start to move your left foot out towards the left side of your mat. So as you get there, both hands come to the inside of your left foot. We still hug the left knee in, so we're not letting it collapse out too much. And then bend your elbows a little bit if you like, or use your blocks, create a little structure, and move down. But work with what feels right and best. It's not, just because it happens on one side does not automatically mean it will do the same on the other. You just have to be patient and just recognize. Okay, we'll take one more inhale. We'll start to move up, removing the blocks. Start to move your left foot so towards the center of your mat a little bit more. So you've got your hands either side of that. And then from there, we are just going to step back this time with your left leg. And we're going to come into a wide leg child's pose. So again, widen your knees. Bring your feet together. Start to move the hips back and settle down. So this time you might not decide to stretch the arms out. You could either cross them over and drop your head down, or just bend your elbows a little. Just really whatever feels best. When you're ready, we'll slowly make our way back up. So take your time, just walking up with your hands. Have a little seat towards the front when you're ready. So our seated stretch today is Gomukhasana, and you can either choose to do this with one leg or with both legs, so you can just decide. But we're going to sit first of all. We're going to keep the right leg straight, and we'll bend the left leg in. Now that left leg's going to go over the top of the right to start. And then with this one, we try and stack the knees. So if you can try and stack your left knee over the top of your right knee as much as you can. And then if you can, use your hand and take your left foot to the outside of your right thigh. So this may be enough just in this position here. And again, you don't have to fold forward. You can stay upright. You could use a strap. You could inhale and reach, and you could fold forwards a little bit towards that leg. So if you want to do both legs, you just then bend in through your right leg as well. So the right leg then moves to the outside of your left thigh, and you have your legs kind of in this position. Again, one leg is fine, and then inhale to reach and folding forwards, just the way you can, so the hands to the ground. So the hips themselves, I mean, are very complex, and they do take time to open up, not just in a kind of sense of how many yoga classes you need to do to get them to open, but also in terms of sitting in the posture. If we kind of just sit in it for a breath or two, then nothing much will happen. So it is a matter of being patient and trying to dwell here for a little while. And that in itself teaches us lots of things about being mindful and present rather than just sitting here and actually thinking about something else. But thinking about the sensation, about the experience of the posture. Okay, we'll take one more inhale. When you're ready, slowly release and come back up again. This time, just bring both legs out to the front. So if you keep your knees bent and take your hands behind you, we're just going to very gently take that little kind of windscreen wiper position. So you do have to have your feet pretty wide to do it, and then just move side to side again, just and check out how the hips feel. So we'll try that home cast on the other side. So come back into the center, left leg straight, right leg bent, and then move it over the top. So when you're ready, stacking your knees, and then moving that right foot in a little bit towards the outside of your thigh. So again, you can stay here, staying upright. You can reach forward and fold forwards, just into any degree. Or maybe you can bend in through your left leg and come into the bone cast. It's up to you, whatever feels best and suits you. And then either stay upright, or if you want to fold in a little bit more, just move forwards. Again, the sensation will change depending on where your position is. Starting to move in with your breath. We'll take one more inhale. Slowly release again. So coming back up. Again, releasing your legs just out to the front. Use your hands behind you once more. So widen your feet a little and then just gently move. Well done. Now from here, we're going to come in for Baddha Konasana. So we're going to bring the soles of your feet together. If you like to, you can keep this pretty generous, so with your heels quite far away, or move them in a little bit. It's really up to you. See if you can take hold of your feet, and then using your elbows here, we gently push the elbows away, and then see if you can round in a little bit. Just bringing your chest down a little bit more, again, without forcing and using your breath more. If you can release the hips a little bit more. Okay, when you're ready, we'll slowly release the coming back up. We are going to make our way down onto your mat now. If you want to, you can use your block here. We're going to do either legs up, or you could do shoulder balance if you have that in your practice. But if you're just coming into legs up, please feel free to move your mat to a wall as well. You can do that. So as you lie down on your back with your feet flat on the floor, just start to lift your hips up and placing your block just underneath. So it needs to support both your hips and your lower back. And then gently start to lift your legs up. Again, taking time to move in so that it actually feels comfortable and supported. So sometimes if your block's too far back, for example, or too far forwards, then it might not feel as supported. You should be able to actually lie here for probably quite a long time without it bothering you. So, play about with the position of the block so that it actually feels like you're not having to work hard when you're here. You should just be able to relax. You can relax through your arms. And again, a really beneficial pose. We're on our feet a lot, or your legs are feeling particularly tired. Even if you're just feeling particularly tired, And sometimes just help to release that tiredness and refresh us a little bit. If you're in a shoulder balance, then you might want to take your feet over your head if you'd like to. You can do that. If you want to stay in it for a little bit longer, you can. And when you're ready, we're going to slowly release down. So again, if you're in shoulder balance, just bending your knees, coming down. If you're in this legs up, then just gently bend your legs. Place your feet flat onto the ground. Now you can actually stay here for the next bit if you've still got your block here, because you're going to come in for a bridge, so you can make it more restorative. So if you've got your block there, just push through your hips and lift your hips up a little bit more. So you might then be able to turn the block and come into a higher position. If it's not suitable, then just let your hips rest down onto the block and just keep your feet flat on the ground. Your arms again nice and relaxed. So you know this block can move up, and if you're not using a block, then just push yourself up into your bridge and hold there. Whatever position it's in, just make sure it feels okay. It's not causing any strain. Okay, we'll start to move out of that. So again, if you're in a bridge, starting to move down. If you've got a block, then lift your hips up first, removing the block, and then slowly releasing yourself all the way down. As you come down, you can draw your knees in towards your chest if you like. Make a little bit of movement there. We're going to take a little twist here. So when you're ready, with the knees in, you can spread your arms and just gently lower both legs just over towards one side. Maybe turning the head towards the opposite side. You're ready, back and towards the middle. Just go the other way. So again, just swinging the legs all the way over. Start to turn the head a little. And you're ready, slowly back towards the middle. So again, with the knees in, any final movements that you want to make, we are going to make our way into Shavasana next. So if you do want to grab a jumper or some socks or something, please do that. And just finding a comfortable position when you're ready. In the end, only 3 things matter: how much we love, how gently we live, and how gracefully we gave up things that weren't meant for us. We have bigger houses, but smaller families, more conveniences, but less time. We have more degrees, but less sense, more knowledge, but less judgment, more experts, but more problems, more medicines, but less healthiness. We've been all the way to the moon and back, but we have trouble crossing the road to meet our new neighbour. We built more computers to hold more information, to produce more copies than ever. But we have less communication. We've become long on quantity, but short on quality. These are times of fast food, but slow digestion. Tall man, but short character. Steep profits, but shallow relationships. It's a time when there is much in the window, but nothing in the room. When you're ready, we'll take a deep inhale, just through your nose, and then just sighing out your mouth. We'll do that once more, so just deeply inhale, and then let it go. And then we'll just start to move a little bit, so through your fingers and your toes. So like to stretch your arms over your head and just taking a full stretch all the way down to your feet. As you bring the arms back over, beginning to bend the knees. Keep your feet on the ground or knees into your chest and just moving a little bit side to side. If you do like to roll over onto your side, then do that. And when you're ready, we'll just start to make our way up. So just take your time. As you come up, we'll just take a comfortable seat. We'll bring the palms together, so just in front of your heart. Just leaving a little gap just to signify an openness in your heart. So thank you so much for coming on and practicing with me this morning. I hope you enjoyed our in the end practice. Namaste. Thank you very much. I'll just stop the recording and then you can unmute yourself.